great player, big, strong, quick, good student. Everybody loved him. Excellent family. And he said, we have a great chance to sign him if we don't mess it up. Now, to the head coaches that are here, and to everybody else, they know, but to everybody else, what R.C. was really saying to me, Coach, we're going to sign Terry if you don't mess up the home visit. Well, the home visit was excellent. And, as a coach, you can tell more about a player when you're around the player's mother with him than you can watching film. You can see that he's a great athlete, can make plays, but you have no idea about the character. And I can say, Ms. Price, that Terry was very respectable. He admired you, he respected you, and he had a lot of love for his mother. There was not a time in 38 years that on a phone call or personal meeting that we talked, that he didn't talk about his family, his wife, and his 2 kids, but he always ended up talking about his mom. Terry is respected by his teammates, and you see a lot of them here, and they are from New Jersey, New York, everywhere. And there's a lot of people that came here today from a long ways away to be with you, Miss Price, and the family, to pay their respects. We went, Terry represented the family. He represented his teammates, his team, this university extremely well. And everywhere he went, you can see that by the number of people that are here. We would go to the Children's Hospital in Houston or Dallas every year, and Terry was one of the most impressive players with the kids. He had the compassion, he knew how to give the compassion, but he also knew how to make the kids laugh and talk to him. Watching Terry grow as a young coach into one of the best, and I will say it again, one of the best defensive line coaches in the country, and many players' lives that he touched, many players that he groomed, from a young boy to a young man, mature. But let me say this real quickly, and there's 2 players that are Miles and Demontre will tell you that Terry was not all smiles on the practice field. He demanded each player to play every snap. And knowing Terry, when I would go watch practice, I would kind of giggle over there, listening to him to holler at Miles and Demontre and some of the other players. But he demanded, he pushed his players. A great coach is someone that can take and make his players do things they do not want to do. At the same time, take those players and teach them how to accomplish something they never thought they could accomplish. Terry could and did. Not many times a player gets to coach against his former coach. I had the pleasure, well, not always, I had the pleasure of being on the other sideline about 9 times. But I can say this, after every game, Terry was the first person that came to me. He grabbed me, and said, "Coach, I love you." Driving in today, I saw these clouds. Some of them were little smoke clouds. And I flashed to Terry that he's up there, dressed in his cooking hat and his jacket. He's got the grill going, and he's grilling. I love you, but save me some of that barbecue.
I met Terry in 1985. I went to spring training out at Plano High School. I was assistant coach with Jackie and defensive coordinator. Knew all about Terry. I'd watched him as a junior. So I went out to spring practice, and the coach called me aside. Coach Tom Kimbrough was his high school coach, great program. And he said, I want to explain to you how the recruiting of Terry is going to be. He said, he's going to be highly recruited, and I know you want to recruit him. I'm going to tell you how it's going to work. I said, oh, really? I never had a high school coach tell me that. He said, well, I visited with his family, and here's the rules. There'll be no telephone calls, no contact, anything with Terry all fall during the season. I said, okay. And he said, if anybody violates that, they'll be out of the picture. I said, okay, we'll go along. You don't have to worry about me, coach. So anyway, I come back, I tell Jack, I said, man, this is kind of an unusual deal here. He said, how are we doing? I said, I don't know. I can't talk to him. And nobody can, supposedly, you know. So anyway, we go through, and it's at the end of the season, when it's over, we'll decide what schools we'll let come in the home and present their case. So we went the whole fall. It's one of the, for a great player, it's by far the easiest recruiting. I couldn't do anything. So at the end of the season, the coach said okay, and we got contact from Mr. Price that he was going to allow us to come in and make our pitch. So Jack and I went in, and that's what I said, don't screw this thing up. So Jack and I went in and made our little talk. And we left. Mr. Price, Terry thanked us, said, we'll let you know later if you made the cut. So we walked out of the door, and I thought Jackie did a good job in there. So we waited, and about I'm going to say a week later, they called and said, A&M's one of the schools we're going to visit. I said, oh, great. And he said, we're going to come on, and they named the date. It was the last weekend. They knew all the dates that you could visit. We're going to visit 5 schools on the last weekend. I said, well, that's good, except you realize all those other schools, they're going to be doing everything they can do to keep y'all from coming to A&M on that last visit. They said, yeah, that's probably true, but if they do, they'll be out of the picture. I said, okay. So I felt pretty good. I was getting a good feeling about that. So we had the recruiting weekend, and this never happened before or since then. His family comes down, Mr. Price come down. Terry's got on a coat and tie. Now you guys over here, how many of y'all showed up when you were visiting in a coat and tie? Let me see a show of hands. Wasn't any before or since. But he came in there, and that I've told here in the last week or two, I've talked to this Price several occasions. I said, a lot of the guys that you have come in, one of the things as a coach, you take great pride and feel like you had a little bit to do with the development of seeing these guys come in and seeing them grow, and you feel like that's one of the rewarding things of a coach. But I have to say, in Terry's case, I don't think we can take much credit for that. He was what he is, and was. When he showed up, he had great training. He came from a great family. And we never had one problem out of him. He was a great influence for the guys that he played with. So then after he finished playing, went and played pro football, then he came back and said he wanted to coach. And I said, are you sure? And he said, yeah, coach, I want to go. I said, man, you're a bright guy. His dad's an executive kind of guy, really buttoned down kind of guy. I said, you can do, sky's the limit of what you can do, man. When you're a degree man. He said, coach, I want to coach. I said, okay, we got a spot. We'll make you a graduate assistant coach. So he stayed with me, and then fortunately for Coach Tuggerville was on the staff at that time. He was on my staff as defensive coordinator. And he got a first-hand look at Terry. So when he gets the Ole Miss job, he takes Terry to Ole Miss. And then he went to Auburn. He took him with the Auburn. And I was over there one day, and it was playing at Auburn. And Pat Dye, the Hall of Fame Auburn coach, was a friend of mine. He came up to me on the sideline pregame talking. And any of you have ever seen him on TV, he's got that real southern drawl. He's all, see, you know that young man, that Price, boy, played for you over at A&M, he is one hell of a football coach. I said, Pat, that means a lot coming from you. You coach for Coach Bryant and all of us. Anyway, Terry was there, and then fast forward, he goes out to Texas Tech. And Kevin and I talked, and Kevin said, I'm gonna try to get him down to A&M. I said, that's great. So then Terry calls me. He said, Coach, man, I'm in a bind. I said, what? He said, well, I'm out here in Tech with Coach Tuberville. And Coach Summers called me, wants me to come back to A&M. I said, well, what do you want to do? He said, well, I'd really like to go to A&M, but it's kind of awkward. I said, Terry, let me tell you something, son. If A&M were to call Coach Tuberville today and say, we want you to be our head coach, he'd be down here before the sun's down. I said, you get on there, have your mind made up, because he'll try to lean on you, but go in there and tell him, I'm going back to A&M, I'm going home. So he did that. He came back down here. And I've enjoyed watching him coach, and just such a wonderful guy. And as I said, winning championships and all that's a lot of fun for coaches. But the real meaning in coaching is seeing those guys that you've had, seeing them develop and grow, and then especially to get to watch like Terry, see him develop as a coach and become a great coach, and just see how he handled himself, how he dealt with the players, and just couldn't have been prouder. I took him and the boys, came out, I got a little place out in the country, they came out there, and I showed them how to shoot guns, and gun safety, and I said, these are not for shooting people, these are shooting squirrels and rabbits and stuff like that. We had a lot of fun with him. He loved those boys, and just so proud of them, and his wife, and his mother, and his family, and just a great guy. So I got a call, I'm kind of keeping up with Kenya about his condition there towards the end. And so on a Monday morning, I guess 2 Mondays ago, I had to have cataract surgery. So I was in the hospital, had an early surgery, and I left my phone with my wife. Kenya called and said, Coach is going to see Terry, probably needs to come on. So as soon as I got out from underneath the stuff that they put me to sleep with, I asked the doctor, he said, hey, you can go, she'll drive you. You can't drive. And I said, well, let's go. So we went to the hospital. And I saw the family, and I saw Terry, and he was getting every kind of medicine. He was intubated, and but he knew me. He rolled his eyes around, and we talked for a good while and visited. And at the end, I said, Terry, I want to pray for you, son. And so I grabbed his hand there and said a little prayer over him. And at the end, I'll never forget this. He turned his eyes over, and big old huge tears came out of his eyes. And so we were communicating, and then 2 days later, we got a message from Kenya that he had passed. And the thought went through my mind that he has gone now to a place where there's not going to be any tears. Not going to be any tears, any sadness, any of that. And he's over there, and I got a ticket. I can't wait to go see him. And so I'm going to go, and I hope that each of you out there today, I hope if you don't have a ticket now, you ought to go to work in a hurry to get one, because you don't know when you're going to need it. If you wait till you need it, it's probably too late. So I'd advise you to try to get a ticket. We all meet over there. We all eat some of Terry's barbecue. God bless you.
On the same note, it's a celebration, right? I'm not going to break down. I was fortunate enough during the last week to get on the phone with TP, and he couldn't talk, but from an emotional standpoint, when Miss Kenya said he opened his eyes, whatever the heck I was trying to tell him, it was about barbecue, by the way, and it really hit me then. My relationship with Terry is a long one. Not as long as yours, Coach Sherrill, but I ran into him as an assistant coach in Atlanta. This guy was everywhere. I'd go to this school. We were in the same schools every day. It's like, and call guys at night. It's like, well, Coach would come visit, but I already got a visit to Auburn. So who's recruiting? Coach Price. Who's recruiting? Coach Price. Who's Coach Price? Right? So everywhere I went, and so finally we got together, and he says, well, let's get something to eat. So he knows everybody everywhere in Atlanta, right? Little bitty hole in the wall places, good food, mostly barbecue. But, then we go to Memphis, and I could back this story up, Coach Dunn. So I'm like, where the heck? So I'm finally getting ahead of this guy in Memphis. But no, he's there winning a damn barbecue contest and meeting other people, right? So he jumps back on the road, he gets another couple guys from Memphis. So unbelievable. I get here to be the head coach. And now that Coach Tuckerville is gone, Senator Tuckerville is gone, I can tell this story. They've moved to Lubbock. And Kenya can back this story up. The people have heard this. So I called Terry, and within 2 or 3 days, I get the job. What a perfect fit, right? I know this guy's a great recruiter. I know he's a great D-line coach. And I know he is a former student at Texas A&M. So what a fit. So I get a hold of him, and I can tell you this because Miss Kenya's here, and she said, I don't know this guy. Coach Tuckerville, we've been with him for a long time. He's taking good care of us. We're going to stay right here. I said, TP, go to the window and look outside. What do you see? And it's Lubbock, and it's snowing sideways. And anybody who knows TP knows that he can't stand to be cold. He would have to put on, and y'all know this, he'd look for mittens and gloves if it's less than 60 degrees outside. So I said, I sent him a quick message of the weather here at College Station. It was 75 degrees. And he looks out, I said, go to the window again. He goes, Coach, I don't know, man. Miss Kenya, she's we're here, Coach Tuckerville. I said, look out the window again, TP. And he's like, you're right. I said, we're going to send a plane for you. And I said, I got to go recruiting. We got a couple visits, but we'll send a plane for you. Just be on it. And when I get back, we'll sit down and talk about everything else. And he called me back. He said, man, I don't know, man. It's tough. I said, have you packed your stuff yet? He says, yeah, I packed it. We're going to get on the plane, Coach. It's going to take some work with Miss Kitty. Long story short, over the course of time, I probably in my lifetime, in 30-some years of coaching, have not had a closer friend as a family member. With his kids staying at my house, my kids staying at his house. Heck, you guys are now playing together at FAU. So, real close. And I think, as Coach Fisher said and other coaches have said, there's one thing about a lot of guys are about themselves or their position or what's best for them. But TP was a guy that was about what's best for the whole organization, what's best for people. And that came through in everything that he did. You start talking about like rating systems and things, that's what the coaches do, which is crazy. But, when you talk about top tier, tier one, being a tier one coach, a tier one husband, a tier one family man, a tier one developer, everything across it. I'm with you guys. There's never been anybody that I've come across that's had a bad word to say about Terry Price. And was he tough on guys? Heck yeah. You'll hear from some of these guys that, I turn my back sometimes and walk away how he talked to some of these guys at times. But at the same time, he loved them. And they knew it. And just like the family, just like his own kids, and we shared time at baseball games, at basketball games, anything we could be at for our own families. But everybody knows that touched Terry Price, knows that he loved them. And I think ultimately, that's the greatest compliment you can give a man. And that legacy lives on. And is it going to be tough to be a part to fill those shoes? Heck yeah, it is. It's not easy. There's a lot of people in here, as you look around, that he has affected and is still affecting. And I'm with you, Coach Cheryl. I said, this morning, I said, right now, can you picture this? Like in heaven, right now, there's a bunch of people walking around going, man, that smells good. What is that? Right? So there are people who don't even know who Terry Price is, but they're walking around, they get closer, and there's, the smoke starts. Is there a fire? No. It's TP back there with it, like you said, Coach, with his hat and his apron, and just being who he is, saying, hey, hang on, get you some of this sausage, baby. The ribs be done here in about a minute. And, for those people who are getting ready to enjoy that, that is a celebration, because so many people he touched, so many positive things he did, such a mentor, not just a football coach, but as a man. And there's guys, person after person after person that I've talked to in the last week, talked to here, that are affected not only as a football player, as a man. And a couple of those guys are here. A bunch of those guys are here, but a couple of them are going to speak. But as you walk by and you talk to people, I think it's really, really evident what type of man Terry Price was and what kind of legacy he left. And I'm really honored to be here, and this kid, I'd do anything for him, and likewise for the family. So, from the bottom of my heart, R.I.P. TP.
With a heavy heart that I speak with you today, as I begin to get sad, I hear that voice over my shoulder. We ain't doing that today, Jimbo. We're here to celebrate his life. And what a life it was. Look at how many people in this room. The people he affected, the people he influenced. We all should be so lucky. And as I look through this room, to me, the thing about Terry that was unique, and we know, the things in every aspect of his life. First he was a son. Then he was a brother. Then he was a player, and a great one. And as I found out at the end of his career, everybody's bragging about what they did, he was an unbelievable shot putter, which I never knew. But then he was a great teammate. Then he was a coach. Then he was an unbelievable staff member. He was a leader. He was an educator. Somewhere in there he became one heck of a chef, as we all know and tell the stories of. But more importantly, the three things I always think of Terry: he was an unbelievable friend. More importantly, he was an unbelievable husband. He was an unbelievable father. How many people could wear that many hats and be in the top 1% of the world and doing every one of them? My father taught me something when I was young. As Mikado says, it's not the money you make, it's not the houses you have, it's not the cars you have. My dad had a term for those people that he said, it's the influences and the friendships and the things you did in your life that made the world a better place. He called them real people. They were real people. No matter what color you were, how much money you had, how great a player you. If you were the walk-on the team, that was considered it just took reps to get everybody better. You were the best player on the team. And when I think of Terry, I think of real people. He's a person who was so genuine, so honest. Like I say, no matter what walk of life you came from, what you did, he accepted you wholeheartedly. But more importantly, he influenced you through his own ways. And how he did things, how he looked at life. The thing about him when I was thinking Terry, it was never about Terry. Nothing he did was about Terry. It was about everybody around him. His coaches, his mother, his father, his kids, his wife, the teammates. And as a defensive player, coach, he even liked offensive players. He even liked him if he scored points. But no, he did. Everything about him was as genuine as the day is long. And the more important thing, you could count on him. And Terry, for me, personally, as a staff member, as I could say, Jackie said, we coached against him and I coached with him. And I wish I would have coached with him a lot more than I coached against him, because he was a pain to go against. But I could always ask Terry, and I got a moral compass from him. When I always asked Terry, I knew I could get the right answer. It had the right solution for the situation, no matter what the consequences were. And there's very few people in this world like that. They could give you the honest truth and answer what was best for everything, not what was best for Terry. Sometimes not even what was best for his own son, who we coached and was on our staff. He would be just get on you just as much as everything. You know that. He was as hard on you and Alex and everything y'all did, because he always wanted what was best for everybody in this world. And if everybody in our world was like that, would we have the issues and problems we have today? He always put things in perspective for me. He really did. I could call him in the office and have conversations with him and get to the root of things and get a perspective, because as a head coach and a leader of people, you have to make so many decisions. There's very few people, like I said, will give you the honest answers and truths about what was right, what was wrong, and where you were. And if all of our legacies could be of that, would there be a better legacy? Because more importantly, like we say, if we're all in this world to not make ourselves better, but to make the people around us better, to make the world a better place to be, Terry did that every day he lived. And the bad part, he didn't try. It's who he was. It's how he was raised. It's how he was loved at home. It's how he was raised in his church. He was raised in his community. He was raised with the people around him. And Terry will always live on with us, because I think his values, principles, and the way he looked at the world is in us, and we don't even know it. As I said in the last 2 weeks, since Terry's passed, and you take things for granted when you do them on a daily basis. You just grind and you go and you go and you go, and then sometimes you get to sit back and you reflect. I thought about the things, how Terry influenced me, how he influenced our staff, how he influenced his players, like I say, the teammates. I heard stories today, and I hear them. And the thing about Terry that amazes me too, there's childhood memories, there's high school memories, there's college memories, there's when he first got into coaching, there's when he's been in coaching. I've never heard a bad story about Terry Price. I've never heard a bad comment about Terry Price. We all should be so lucky that we live the world. And at the same time, like you said, it wasn't always peaches and cream. He could tell you straight up when he had to be tough, but he always had everybody's best interest at heart, not just Terry's. When you're a teammate, when you're a staff member, like I said, our world is so individualistic today. There was not an individualistic bone in Terry's body. It's about whatever made his family better, his team better, his friends better. And we were all better for knowing him. The world was better for having him. But more importantly, he will live on with all of us for the rest of our lives because of the lessons we learned from him. We are the blessed people that got to know Terry Price. But he will live on for us forever and ever. Thank you.
Like we said, this is a celebration, and Coach Price came to me this morning, man. He said, don't you be up there being soft. And players, you guys know that. All right, so the biggest thing I want to talk about, man, is this. You pallbearers better get ready. Because you know you're going to say what? Sink your hips and stop being lazy. All right? And Coach, you said you saw those clouds this morning. You know you were smoking this morning. Well, I'll tell you what. We talk some nicknames. Here's a few. Somebody's walking by right now, and he said, hey, Fred. Hand me that spatula. Or wine sauce. Get over here and help me with this brisket. Right, so those are a few of those names, Coach. I'll tell you what, man, that's organic. But just to talk a little bit about just Coach Price, man. We all have stories. We all have experiences that we can talk about forever. And I'm pretty sure we're going to do that today. But it was never a dull moment with him. Never go home with him. And Ananias, I saw you standing up earlier, but I remember you was trying to teach him how to do the mock dance. All right, when you guys saw Trey Bobby Brown's post where he just pops out and trying to do just random dances, man, that was who Coach Price was. Trying to keep up with the recruitment staff and learn new slang. He was trying to figure out what did no cat mean. Who not wearing a cat? Nah, that's not how you do it. All right, he always was trying to stay hip with those things. Or the group chat that we had as a staff, talking about the big green egg, and we were all trying to impress Coach Price with our pictures or our videos, what we was trying to smoke and grill, and that became something special to us. Now, Coach Mercado, I don't know if he still agrees with your barbecue with the hot dogs and hamburgers, but we got some time to work on that, my man, all right? And D-Line, you're not going to get off of this. If one of you guys jumped off sides, and Coach Price, you know that, the whole College Station, all the way to Bryan, is going to hear about it. All right, so I think what we need to do, Coach, is if one of the linemen jump off sides and honor TP, we need to make him wear that face mask with that bar down the middle. All right, I think that can be a deal right there. But at the end of the day, man, I got so many texts and phone calls and saying you guys are a dynamic duo. Man, we started off as two coaches. You know, we shared a passion for making an impact in young men's lives, just young people's lives, whoever we came to encounter with. So that was the only dynamic duo about us. You know, he didn't care who got the credit. Like Coach said earlier, he just wanted to know what can we do to make our players the best players possible, make them the best men possible, make the people around us better. And that's who Coach Price was. Coach Price was that friend, that big brother, that uncle we all needed. And I tell you what, he was, and I tell you this, he was the father that we all needed as well. Because he gave us an example of what it meant to be a great father, a great husband, and like Coach said, just a great staff member. He was all those things. You know, a scripture I came past, Proverbs 27:17. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And I tell you what, that's what he did for me. And for many people in this room today, I'm pretty sure he did the same for you. But man, he sharpened me from all walks of life. And I tell you what, he was special. God made no mistake when he allowed me to come be a part of his staff and work with Coach Price. He'll be missed, but his legacy will live on forever. Miss Kenya, Alex, Dev, Dr. Price, and the rest of the family, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for allowing us to share TP with you. Allowing him to be a part of our lives, allowing him to be a part of our DNA. All right, and I thank you. I really do. Is there anything you guys ever need, please don't hesitate to call. That was my brother. All right, that was my big brother that I needed. All right, everybody stay blessed. It's great seeing everybody. It's a celebration, y'all. It's a celebration. Let's have fun. Let's share those stories. All right, and let's talk about getting on you a little bit, D-Line. All right, because if you might know, Coach, I know one day you said, this is Coach Price Recruitment right here. You get on the phone, what you gonna say? Sack Daddy! Then you're gonna talk about that barbecue, and then we're gonna sign it. All right? You guys stay blessed. Family, my prayers are with you. I love you all.